but I just love it because, you know, it's always been in my heart. It's always been in my mind, and it's something that I live for. I can't stop doing it. And I just want to share everything with the world. Shout out to the brother Taalik that made the video about supporting me yesterday. Shout out to you. I just want to thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all.
Wow. Okay. I'm not going to give my usual introduction because I have a very short period of time I'm trying to use, and perhaps I need all of it, so I'm not. Y'all know who I is. Y'all know who I is. Angel Snow number 7. Your soul brother number 1. Woo! Where do I start? What brings me to this subject is that I recently had an email conversation with a person who, I guess, their foundation or their mindset or their mentality, I don't know, but it is, I do know from many of you, and even myself now, just because I question, just because I inquire, does not mean I don't respect our historians. Does not mean that I don't respect many of our great leaders. I respect anybody who has tried to do anything in behalf of trying to progress the soul brother and sister from up out of the condition that we find ourselves in. But I respectfully say that you have made serious flaw and error. And some of you, like I was speaking about in another video, you have tunnel vision and you can only see one way. And clearly that one way is not getting the job done. But you become insane and you take a round peg and try to put it in a square hole. It's not going to work. I don't care how you feel about it. I don't care how loyal you are. It's not working. It's not going to work. But y'all keep trying. Because you love somebody. Because you respect somebody. It's not working. And you're doing yourself a disservice. And you're doing future generations a disservice. Because only thing that you're doing is condemning them to the same hell that we suffer right now. Is that what you want to do? Perhaps that is what you want to do. Because you really don't actually want to do the work. And really, you're comfortable. You actually are a house Negro. You are a house slave. You are actually comfortable. I call you a dark European because actually that's what you are. You pretending you want something different, but you really don't. Again, I was going back and forth with this person in an email, and they gotten very, very upset because of the words I had to say about this historian, Dr. Ben and Dr. John Henry Clark and whatever. They were really, how dare you slander my elders? How dare you? I'm not slandering anybody. I'm making a point. I'm bringing something to your attention that you don't want to see. Now, help me. If I'm in error, just help me. You don't have to call me a name. You don't have to call me a coon. You have to call me an agent and a spy. Y'all, you're very childish because I'm not a coon. I'm not a spy. I'm not an agent. I'm asking questions and you get angry and upset because you can't answer and bring a valid, credible reply. So you attack the one that asks the questions. Very silly. Because when it's all said and done, you're going to have to face it and deal with thinking people Everybody is not a follower. Everybody doesn't have tunnel vision like you do. But please help me in my understanding if I am off base here, of which I believe I am not. So we have Dr. Ben and we have Dr. John Henry Clark. These men are historians. They are teachers of history. They are scholars in history. Is there any other label? Or they might be activists, but is there any other label, college professors or whatever? Is there any other labels that I need to know about these men? Please write it down in the comments so that I can do my research and understand what I'm missing. But I do understand the bottom line is they are historians. Now, the thing about history is history or his story. You and I, just by watching this video, there are those who will have a different view of what is being said, what I'm doing, than another person. So it's the same with history. History is the view, or it's in the eye of the beholder. I'm very sure that the Japanese version of World War II is much, much different than the American version, the people that dropped the bomb on Japan. I'm very sure Japan has a different outlook from these races in America. So that shows you that history can be manipulated. Is the one that's telling the history, the one that's telling the story. What source are you using? Because that source, you could be dealing with a liar, a deceiver, a manipulator. So you have historians. They do their best to try to come up to the truth. But another problem that we have with historians and other scientists is that when you work it up under a government, then you try to paint and develop your findings the way that the government wants you, or the people that you're trying to reach. You want to try to paint it in a manner where that's what they expect from you. When historians and scientists could be trying to find the real truth, the real history of things, they are manipulated by governments and even people to come up with different conclusions. They are being used to just support and verify some lie or something that's in somebody's mind. Like you find many people who talk about Noah's boat and all this other stuff. They try to verify Christian biblical history and all that, whatever. Also, y'all got this thing about books. Books is the same thing. Just because somebody write a book don't mean that that book is right. History and what people write in books needs to be examined. It needs to be under the microscope. Because what is the source? We know how credible is this information. But y'all, it was in a book. So what? Adolf Hitler had a lot of books. Was those books? Adolf Hitler had a lot of books. And Adolf Hitler also had a lot of science behind that supported Nazism. What does that tell you? But Dr. Ben, I think he's an atheist or whatever. I don't remember listening to any of his lectures where he was talking about, I think he's an atheist or agnostic or something like that. But what has happened is these men are just historians, and you've taken what they have found, their information, and this is what has happened. You have taken it and made a religion out of it. That's what you have done. And just like the Bible, just like the Quran, the believers in the Bible and the Quran don't like being questioned on those books. You don't want to be questioned about what you learned from Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben or any other historian, you want it to be 1,000% right and on point, just like Christians said that the Bible is 1,000% right and on point, just like the Muslims said that the Quran is. You have taken historical findings that these men gotten, and you made a religion out of it, and you believe in it, and you call it black conscience. You call it black power, whatever you call it, black something, whatever. These men did not create something for you to believe in. The only thing they did all their lives was try to decipher history. A historian is not a revolutionary. A historian is not a liberator. Historians don't do that. So you're taking these, you are in need of a revolution. You are in need to be liberated. A historian cannot liberate you. A historian is not a revolutionary. To my knowledge, there has been no instance where historians were the ones that were the people looked up to in order to fight to liberate themselves from an oppressor. The only thing a historian can do is report, decipher history, and y'all take that history and you made a religion out of it, and the prophets of your religion is Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark. They are the prophets. And they taking their information to support your pro-black, whatever African, you believe you are an African, whatever that stuff that y'all believe in. You take their findings and they take their historical findings to support what you believe. But even Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, to my knowledge, I've never seen them make a direct connection to you, to no African people in modern times or ancient times. I've never seen their writings where they make a direct connection, because there is no connection between Kemet or any African or nobody else on this planet, the so-called Negro in America. There is no direct connection. Because if you had a direct connection, then you can also tell us who the tribe is, the nation, the language they speak, and who are your modern relatives. It can't be done because there is no connection. You were not created that way. And another thing that puzzles my mind. How does a slave, here you are, was not allowed to read or write for hundreds of years, all of a sudden within the last few hundred years, all of a sudden you an expert on Kemet. How did this happen? We were nothing but slaves. You were slaves for 300 years. All of a sudden, you know everything. Ma'at and Kemet and Mir and you know and Osiris and all this. All of a sudden, you know all this. See, the thing about it is, you have Dr. Clark, you have Dr. Ben, but at the root, the bottom line is your knowledge and all your understanding. At the root of it, it came from Caucasian people. That's where it comes from, because a slave don't know a damn thing about ancient Kemet. You barely learned anything and knew anything about some Africa. You damn sure didn't know nothing about Kemet. They taught you that. The Caucasian people, the white man, the pink man, taught you about Kemet, taught you about Africa, all this stuff. And you don't want to hear coming from me, we're not of Kemet and we're not of African. Why? Because Massa say, we is African. Massa say, we come from Kemet. That's what Massa told us. Then you're going to tell me, you're going to turn around and tell me that you're not a house Negro, you're not a slave, but at the same time, the only thing you're doing is copying, and you believe the information at the root of it. Caucasian people, the pink man gave it to you. Why do you think that he gave you Kemet? Why do you think he made you look at Kemet and look at, I don't care how great Kemet was, and make you look at Africa. He made you look in those directions because This cracker all knew, and he knows that your origins and the people that you came from right here under your foot. I guarantee it. And that's why nobody likes being questioned. Nobody likes this inquiry. I wish I could have had a chance with what I know now to question Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark. But see, maybe even they would even come to the conclusion, you might have a point. If your intent is not to deceive, but if your whole game plan is deception, so you can make some money off some people, well, hey, I'm not saying that's what they done. But you know, money changes folks. Is the exoneration, the acquittal of this fella, this racist, this demonic, wicked. It's just so much that you can really say. This cop, it's normal. It's becoming normal. And we saw exactly what happened. And the jury, I don't know what the makeup of the jury. I don't keep up with a lot of news the way I used to. So many of you who view this post, you can help me out a little bit. In fact, I don't even know if I am pronouncing the murder victim's name correctly. Philando Castile, something to that. I want to talk about him. Welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. I am the host, your soul brother number one, and your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad, also known on social media as Angel Snub Nub 7. This is a rant video. I want to get this off my chest. My personal self. I need to get this stress off of me. Then I can go on to do other things. I just need this as a stress reliever. We all need stress relievers. Some of y'all use drugs. Some of you use food. Some of y'all use sex. Some of y'all use basketball. Whatever your stress reliever is. My stress reliever is the making of these videos, and I hope that in some manner they are beneficial, not only to my being relieved of stress, but to all those who give what I call real truth an opportunity to be heard. And I thank you so much for listening to my voice. I don't want you to take this the wrong way. What can I say? When I was a younger person, and this has been going on for so long, but when I was a younger person and I would hear tragedies like this, I would just cry. I would feel so much sorrow for those of whom were murdered, thrown in jail unjustly. In fact, I myself was a victim of this racist, unjust system, serving 10 years for something that I did not do. Never did I believe, and I should have believed, that it was possible that I would end up behind bars. And see, this is the mistake many people make. They believe it can't happen to me. That was him, it can't happen to me. there was a incident where this young man was just making a repair on his car and was still harassed and basically assaulted by the police. He was working on his car. So don't tell me this can't happen to me. Just like the woman who believes she can't get pregnant. It won't happen to me. But I want to say this very quickly. Again, I still think about Trayvon Martin. That little boy, Tamir Rice. The young man that was in the back of that police vehicle and his back got broken. He was paralyzed and he eventually died. I think about all these things, but there's nothing, one person, I can't do nothing by myself. We tolerate this evil. We tolerate this discrimination or oppression upon us. We tolerate the behaviors of other dark-skinned people that is inappropriate. Let me say this, because my time is running very short. I cry for Trayvon. I cry for Lando. I cry for little Tamir. But there's something that grinds my gears. I got to get it off my chest. And whether you like it or not, it's the truth. I don't like somebody that tries to make a fool out of me. I don't like to see people being exploited. I don't like people being made a fool out of. I don't know the heart of Philando Castile's family. But I will say this. And history will verify. We have so many persons, their families, the murder victim's family. They are awarded great sums of money. There was an incident. What is the sister's name in Chicago? I forgot what her name was. But she was shot by the cop. And her family made a big thing about it until the city paid them off. Far as I know, they took that money and ran. They moved out of Chicago, never to be heard again. You have these families of these murder victims. They take these cash awards, and instead of taking these money that you should not have, because you're not the murdered, you're not the victim, instead of taking those monies and working in behalf of justice, they take the money and they go to Disneyland. They buy big cars, big houses. They exploit their own relatives' murder, their deaths. And I don't like that. How can y'all tolerate it? Such things should not even be allowed to be among us. Take your ass to the slave master and be with a smile and giggle with them, which they don't care because they have the money. Trayvon Martin's parents, I heard they got paid a certain amount of money from that that housing place or whatever. How can you sit around and you claim to love Trayvon, or you claim to love these persons? What it was, their murder became a free meal ticket to great wealth. And these beasts, these demons don't care that you get that money, because the only thing you're going to do is give it right back to them. Because you don't have a Disneyland. You don't make Cadillacs. You don't make Mercedes-Benz. You don't make Rolls Royces. You don't make and produce a damn thing. So the only thing they doing, you don't build your houses. You don't do nothing. So they give you these rewards, these great amounts of money. And the only thing these silly Negroes is going to do is just give it right back. So it's no big deal. But in this case, a Philando Castile has gotten to the point where we ain't tired of giving you Negroes money. I ain't going to give you nothing. Going to treat you like you need to be treated. like the nothings that you really are. So what? So what? Your loved one was murdered. What you gonna do about it? So what? We ain't giving you a damn dime. We gonna let this cop off the hook. So let me tell y'all something also. When it comes to judges, when it comes to prosecutors, when it comes to lawyers, when it comes to doctors, when it comes to even fire people, firemen, there are laws designed to protect them. And you have, when you have a court case like this, you have jurors that don't have to side with the so-called law, but they will. I want to be a good. I'm going to vote according to what the law say. Then also, most of these juries, of course, as you know, they are not made of your peers. You're supposed to be judged by a jury of your peers. I guarantee you. Well, maybe these people was this man's peers. In the case of Philando Castile, maybe they was. We gonna let our brother off. Ain't nothing but a nigga. We let him go. So what? Big deal. And you're going to see more of these cops being let go, and you're going to see less of these awards because they sick of paying you Negroes money, making you rich. They already said that you're lazy and don't want to work, and all of a sudden you're gonna be rich because your no good nothing relative got shot. So what? They should never have been doing wrong to begin with. Awards for murder should be used in the best interest to prevent murder. Set up a scholarship for our children. Create low-income housing for your people. Do something so that your relative can be remembered and the sacrifice of his life or her life would not be in vain. But y'all go to Disneyland, Six Flags, SeaWorld. Let's go to Europe. This is what these Negroes. This is why I don't get involved in these shootings. I don't get involved in all those things. It's a waste. You're not going to use me for your crap. You're not going to use me for I don't get involved in dark European activity. As long as you live with racists, they are going to murder you. As long as you live with racists, they are going to discriminate. They've been doing this going on 500 years and have not changed. You don't want to change. You continue to tolerate this mess. You don't want to change. So why it makes no difference. You want to cry, but at the same time, these people, our people, the descendants of slaves, you getting exactly what you ask for. So if you're angry at me because I can't shed tears and I question the motives, that's your business. And I just sit back in the cut and watch you continue to be good house slaves.
Let me say this, old man. You better hope that me and you never be in the same room with each other, because I want to see how big and bad you are. You little short ass, I will put this size 10 half and I will beat the living shit out of you. Yeah, I said it.
Since this man want to beat me up, this man claims that he can beat me up. I want to give him the opportunity. You come where I am, and I will give you the opportunity to beat me up. If that what makes you feel good, bruh, then you come. Now, so again, to repeat and add to my proposition, you pay half for the boxing ring. I would pay half for the boxing ring. And whoever wins the boxing match, the person who is the loser would give to the winners charity of their choice $1,000. $1,000. I'm not going to give you $1,000. You're not going to give me $1,000. You're going to give the money to the charity of our choice. How about that? Come on. See, we come on the internet talking a whole bunch of crap. Let's show and prove. Let's do it. And you want to know something? I'm so confident. I don't even believe I have to train. I don't believe I have to do nothing. That's how confident I am. I mean, come on now. You're looking at this. I mean, come on. Come on now. Really? Really, Harvey? You really want to go there? Okay. I guess I assume that you just watched these few clips, and it's nothing to be proud of. It's nothing to, in fact, we should feel some kind of shame when we have to go through this with another person who suffers under the same oppressor that you do. But this is the reality of being a male or female or even child, being called a Negro, an African Americanist, a Hebrew Israelite, a black Muslim, whatever all this stuff that y'all came up with. This is the type of thing that we have to deal with day in and day out. And this is not the gang. This is not coming from a gang. This is not the Blood and the Crips, the Gangster Disciples, or any of our gangs. This is ordinary men with the same type of attitude to kill, to murder, to slander, spread gossip, whatever. In some kind of manner, we must hurt one another. Based on what? This person accused me of trolling him or whatever, offering no evidence. At least have evidence. At least have something credible. But you see, we who are the African Americans, we are so filled with self-hatred. And I explained in my video how the white man created black people. I explained the process of how the white man or the pink people created the Negro. This explains this type of behavior. Now listen, there's always exceptions to the rule, but in general, on average, the majority, this is what you get. You really don't have to do nothing to an African American. You can step on their shoe, say something, oh, Negro, you disrespected me. Now other people can do the same thing, and you will never hear the hatred. In fact, this type of behavior, they would never carry out on other people. But upon another person of color, you will see, not only will they talk, but they will take action and try to hurt and murder you. Since I've come on this forum in 2007, I have had numerous. Now, of course, there have been many Caucasian people and some other folks or whatever. They have made death threats against me and whatever. But since 2007, especially when I talk about somebody's belief, I talk about Louis Farrakhan, or maybe Polite, somebody y'all love, then I deserve death. I deserve death because I critique Louis Farrakhan. I deserve death because I critique Sar Sunseti. I deserve death because I critique Young Pharaoh. I deserve death. I deserve death for anything, for just opening my mouth when it comes to the African Americans. Now, if you notice, and the reason why I call the black man cowardly is because you have all this hatred and you will take action. Such as in the case, I always talk about Brother Malcolm. You would expect the government, they keep talking about the government did not kill Malcolm. It's quite clear, and it's a fact that dark-skinned men murdered Malcolm. They did not have to do nothing to Malcolm. And it was rooted and it was based in the same thing that I am targeted right now today. Slander, lies, gossip, you a hypocrite, you a traitor, and all this. You a coon, you a agent, you a spy, and all this other bull crap. But the thing about all of this is these same Negroes who are willing to murder other black people, other people of soul, these same hate-filled pieces of garbage, pieces of crap. And I want to say this real quickly about this particular fella. You heard what he said he wanted to do to me. So I gave him an opportunity. Just recently, last year, haven't heard nothing from the guy. I'm going to give you an opportunity to beat me up or kill me or whatever you want to do, sir. I'm going to give you an opportunity. And the fella went silent. Which is a good thing, really. Because it makes this whole thing doesn't make any sense. Keep my name out of your mouth. I have nothing to say. Go on and do what you feel you have to do. I will go my way. You're a silly person. We are so immature, filled with nonsense, childish. I don't have time for it. If I am guilty, I will apologize. But don't accuse me of something you can't prove I know I did not do. These same people will threaten my life and kill people, other soul people, other dark-skinned people, but they won't touch. Oh, wow. And you know it. They won't touch the people that's actually doing, killing us, murdering us, oppressing us. They won't touch them at all. I wonder why is that? Some of these people, like this fella here, went to the military to kill for massa. They killed for massa. They shot, bombed men, women, and children in other countries. They killed for massa. Massa said, go sick them, go sick them. And for a few pieces of silver, they go fight for massa. But then they get here running their damn mouth. You don't see them. They're not willing to die. They're not willing to sacrifice. They're not willing to do nothing for the black folks. Nothing. But if you said something against their opinion or whatever, they'll be happy to kill you and murder you. This is why I call black men cowards. And when these black men speak, when it comes to Caucasian people or anybody else, we got to try to work it out and live together and blah, blah, blah. You never hear them put military action or violence on the table. They never mention it. Everybody else will. This cracker damn sure will. He'll put, oh, we got to put military action. It's an option. It's on the table. Here you are. You shouldn't be scared to die. You die for the racists. Why you can't do it in the name of justice for Trayvon Martin and Tamir Rice and this what's his name, Philadelphia Castile, Philando Castile, and or whatever. Why don't you put your life on the line and show these people that we mean business? You won't do that. But you'll call me a coon and you want to murder me and call other people coons and murder another dark-skinned face. Cowards. Bunch of cowards. And I will continue to talk. You got to murder me. Because I'm going to tell it like it is. I'm going to bring the real. But I'm not the first one who is real and won't be the last. Because you can murder a physical body, but you can't murder the real truth. Real truth going to rise in the people because it's needed. Real truth is going to rise because there's time for a change. We should all be sick of this madness, this insanity that we were born into. I don't care what your race is. I don't care what your gender is. I don't care what your religious belief is. Y'all should be tired of this madness, and it should, and you should want it to come to an end. But those who benefit and those who control ain't gonna go out peacefully. Somebody got to get big and bad. Somebody has to be tough and rough, just like they are, and take them out. And you can be successful, and you're gonna be the winner because you're doing the right thing. Many of us will perish, but it took a lot of people to die to get you and out where we're at. So come on, y'all. Need to straighten up. Well, we want to talk about, for a few seconds, few minutes actually. I thank you so much for giving me a few minutes. I want to try to answer the question, and we can do this together. It's not about me. I do not claim to be the all-knowing, the all-wise. None of these things. I always tell us that in order to truly bring a remedy or a solution to our horrendous problem, it's going to take I can't even spell, B-R-A-I-N-S, plural. I have only one brain, and that brain is limited. We're looking at a situation that requires the unification of many brains. Brains that know how to compromise, brains which is not fluid, rigid in thought, brains that have a certain kind of intellect. If you don't have that, then we are in really, truly bad shape, because from what I see, you're dealing with rigid mentality instead of fluid mindset. The question we want to answer, the question that we would like to discuss on this particular video, do black people, or why do black people like being niggas? Now, some of you don't like that word. I don't like using the word. But in this case, it's just a description of a people that was given, or this label was forced on us for hundreds of years, and it seems as though we can't get rid of it. I don't care how much you don't like the word nigger, being called nigger. It's something that is very, very solid. In fact, we actually promoted ourselves. It was forced on us, and we promoted. Why is that? Well, it reminds me of a woman or anybody in an abusive relationship, and your abuser calls you these different names. After a certain period of time, the victim actually believes the abuser. You you lady, you a hoe, you are this and that. And you begin to believe that you're no good whore and a bee and blah, blah, blah. It's psychological. But cancer is physical. What is it about cancer? A lot of people don't like going to the doctor, and coming here is like going to the doctor's office. Many people do not like going to the doctor's office because they don't want to hear bad news from the doctor. And one of the most life-changing things that could happen to anybody, you don't want to hear when your doctor comes to you and say, look, you have cancer. Ask anybody who was ever told this, how they felt. Well, sir, ma'am, after extensive tests, we find that you have cancer. Now, once we find out that we have cancer, you only have two options. Either accept the cancer and know that it's going to kill you very, very soon, or you can make the decision to fight the cancer and try to live. What happens when we are told that we are niggers? You only have two options. Accept being a nigger and die, or fight the nigger. This mindset, this mentality that we have become conditioned to behave like in such a niggardly manner. Now, there are some of us, we think that we're so high sedity, we're so bougie, we think, oh, I ain't no nigger. I'm better than so-and-so. Well, during slavery and during Jim Crow, during the tumultuous time that we have dealt with living in this racist nation, a rope has found its way around the neck of the nigger that was a businessman, entrepreneur, preacher or pastor, military soldier, did not care what you claim you are, think that you're better than the other niggers, because you're not. And the one thing about a nigger is you better know your place in society. When you get out of your place, when you get so high and mighty and you think that you're not a nigger, then those who actually coined the name and gave you that title, nigger, they're going to show you that you need to stay in your place. So you have somebody like Soul Brother Michael Jackson, may he rest in peace. He created the greatest record on the planet, Thriller. But then Michael's starting to get sort of smart nigger, and he decided, I'm going to invest my money and I'm going to buy the Beatles catalog and some other stuff. How dare you, nigger, buy the Beatles catalog? Don't you dare buy somebody or something that is precious to Caucasian people? How dare you? Don't you know your place? Even Paul McCartney is supposed to have been such friends with Michael. When Michael bought the Beatles material, he got all upset. This nigga buying that's my intellectual property. Next thing you know, a few years later, down the road, poor Michael, caught up in his own addictions and his own monsters, along with some other crap, found himself dead. And I would guess who has the Beatles material now? It's back in the hands of Massa. Micah was an uppity Negro. Plus, Micah started making accusations of racism and some other stuff. Had to put this Negro in his place because one bad apple might spoil the rest. So we better keep Michael in check. Matter of fact, we're going to take him out. Then you have Mr. Bill Cosby. Supposed to be raping people. They would not give a dang about Bill Cosby. But Bill Cosby, he became an uppity Negro. Whether you like his writings or not, he tried to bring positivity to the so-called black community, the community of soul. And then he tried to influence other Negroes to buy like NBC, CBS, ABC. These were the first television stations. And this nigga has the nerve to want to own one of our stuff. Nigga, know your place. Next thing you know, now Bill Cosby is in criminal court trying to stay out of jail. They just had a mistrial, but the prosecutors and these people said we're gonna get Bill. And don't be shocked that Bill doesn't get convicted. They want to take this slave. Don't you ever get out of your place. I don't care how much money you think that you are. Don't you talk about taking over something that we treasure like NBC or the Beatles catalog, anything that, know your place, Negro. Y'all ain't supposed to, really, you shouldn't even have what you have, but you know, we tolerate that. Because your success keep the other Negroes in check. I can be like Bill Cosby one day. I can be like Michael Jackson one day. So that keeps them slaves, keep them docile and shut them up. I can be like Obama one day. Know your place. Know your place. So far, Oprah Winfrey, supposed to be a billionaire. She's worth over $1 billion, but she knows her place. She has not tried to buy anything they treasure. And she definitely does not take action to help dark-skinned people in this country. You know, she gives a little bit now and then or whatever, but she knows. Oprah knows her place. Because if Oprah don't stay in her place, she understands, and a lot of these Negroes, they don't want to admit or confess in the public. They know they are nothing but niggas in the eyes of these people. They know it. Charles Barkley know he's a nigga. No matter what he talks about, he knows his place. And what it is, what he's trying to do in his talk, keep you in your place. So everybody can be a big happy family in the United States. Just like your dog at home. Your dog is not going to jump on top of the table and do a whole lot of crazy stuff, because that dog better know his place, or you would kick that dog outside somewhere. The dog better know his place, or you would get rid of it. So we going back to the cancer. Do black people really like being niggas? No, you really don't like being a nigga. But what has happened, many of us have just accepted the cancer. We don't want to fight the cancer, even though we know that this cancer is killing us. We're just waiting to die. We refuse treatment. So that's why you see these behaviors. Because what do I have to lose? I'm dying. I'm a dead man anyway. So why should I behave? Why should I behave a certain way? There's no reason for me. I'm dying. I'm a dead man anyway. 2-parent households, trying to be good, live a righteous life, stop drinking, stop smoking. Who cares? I got cancer. I'm a nigga. I'm a dead man. I'm nothing. Don't worry about me. I'll be dead in a few minutes anyway. That's your mentality. You don't have your nigga. You don't think about the future. You don't give a damn about your children. You don't even give a damn about yourself because you're dying. And if it's not about me, who gives a care? That's our mentality. But yet it's still, you ain't a nigga. You have accepted your role and your place in a racist society.
We're talking about not falling into the teacher trap, not falling into the website trap. So today, what teachers can you learn from? We just told you that the Akawu tells you that we're all a great teacher at the same time. So who are you going to learn from? You're going to learn from brothers like Sa-Neter. You're going to learn the positives and negatives from brothers like Sa-Neter. You're going to learn the positives and negatives of people like Brother Polite. The positives and negatives of people like Sarah Sutanseti. You're going to learn from Maurice Muhammad, Taalik Ibn'rad. You're going to learn from Nettercat. You're going to learn, you definitely going to learn from King Noble. You definitely going to learn a little something something from Brother Daku. But we ain't the only teachers in the world. There are other people in your lives right now that are teaching you things that you need to know. Now, do you follow your teacher every single place and everywhere? Not necessarily. But if you got a good teacher, your teacher is going to teach you how to think, not what to think. And if you learn how to think, then you can be critical of all information. You can question anything. Your teachers ain't going to get mad. Huh? Your teacher, if he's truly your teacher, give me the question. Bring them on. If I can't answer the question, then I'm going to meditate on it, reflect on it, and try to get back with you with the answer, get back to you with the answer. But I'm also going to encourage you to think. It's important for you to think. You're not just my student, you're also my teacher. I'm not your teacher, I'm also your student. Don't fall into the teacher trap. This has been Daku Akabo Wakatu.